I'm Sol Nasisi. I'm the Director of Digital Marketing at Bentley University. Has anybody heard of Bentley? Yeah. We're a private, nonprofit, business-focused school in the Boston area. We're about 10 miles from Boston. So if you're like me, you probably have, and you're in higher ed. How many of you are in higher ed marketing? Okay, so one person there. How about just general marketing? Okay, a couple people. Well, if you're in higher ed marketing and even general marketing, you have a playbook that you're using. And that playbook is basically, hasn't changed much in the last few years. Maybe you've added social media to it, but it's email, it's SEO, it's paid social, it's AdWords, it's, if you're doing branding, it's television, it's radio, it's OTT, maybe some print. And that's pretty much what we've been doing for the last 10, even 15 years. And I think that NFTs and Web3 really present an opportunity for us to change how we're marketing and for us to update our playbook for a new generation of students who are coming who want to be messaged in a different way. And so what I'm going to do is talk a little bit about that changing playbook and then do a deep dive into one area. And so when I think about that playbook as a higher ed marketer, there are rewards. What are the rewards that we give people for coming to events, for doing things to entice them? We run a lot of contests at Bentley to try to get leads, to try to get people to activate and attend things. And we give swag, we give prizes, we give gift cards. Well, I think in the future, we can start giving NFTs. So that's one area that we're sort of focused on and thinking about. Another thing is credentials, right? We give diplomas out to students. Well, in the future, and we're starting to work on this a little bit at Bentley, we should be giving them NFTs when they graduate. And once you have that NFT, you can continue the relationship and you can have a relationship through that NFT. You can send messages and that segues into alumni marketing. So you can continue to have a rewards-based relationship with your alumni over time. And then the other area that I think is going to be impacted, and I want to talk mostly about that, is in the branding space. So I don't know, I don't see my slides up there. Are there slides? Oh yeah, sorry, the clicker. Thank you. So in the branding space, and I'm going to talk about how I think NFTs can be used as a branding tool. So there's a picture of Bentley University. It's a picturesque New England school. So I want to talk about what we did 2 years ago to launch an NFT and what the impact of that has been on the brand externally as well as internally. So Bentley has a basketball coach, or had a basketball coach. She retired, named Barbara Stevens. And Barbara Stevens is one of the winningest coaches in NCAA history. And she was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. And you can't really see this very much, but she was inducted along with people like Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett. So it's a pretty big deal for a small school like ours. And so as we were talking about how do we want to celebrate this and how do we want to communicate it, we thought about, maybe we should do something in the NFT space. So I raised my hand and I said to the leadership, why don't we do an NFT around it? And everybody looked at me, this was 2 years ago, remember, and they kind of said, I don't really know what you're talking about. And then we moved on. And so we continued talking about it. And 3 months later, I raised it again. And at that point, NFTs had started to take off. There was NBA Top Shot. There were a couple of other projects that were starting. Bored Apes had gotten out there. And so people across the university had started to hear about NFTs and were a little bit more familiar with them. And so at that point, I brought it up again and people were more receptive. And so 2 things to think about with this. One is if you're going to do an NFT, find something that's interesting and that you think would get some traction. And so in this case, we had a all-star coach that was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Your university or your institution, maybe you have artists. Doesn't have to be something big, but it has to be something interesting, I think. The second thing is you want to be persistent. A lot of institutions, you're here with everybody in this convention center that's into NFTs, but most people at institutions, when you talk about NFTs, they look at you like you have 3 heads. And so you have to continue to bring it up. You have to continue to educate. And you have to try to make the case for why the institution should take a chance and adopt a Web3 technology. So after that second time, people were on board. They said, okay, let's do it. We'll do it as a trial. And so we went ahead and did that. So the third thing is you have to really have a cross-functional team backing you up. When you're working on an NFT, what I found is it's more than just, you know, finding a place, a marketplace to launch the NFT and putting it together and putting it out there. There were a bunch of legal issues. We had to get the legal department on board. They had to feel comfortable with this. We had to write the terms and conditions. I actually went and wrote them, then I sent them to legal. The legal counsel didn't have any experience in crypto, so she had to go to an outside counsel. And the outside counsel had to go to someone else because no one knew what the heck we were doing. And then there was also the financial issue. Bentley had never held crypto on its balance sheet, and we were going to need crypto in a wallet in order to do the transactions. And so we had to find people who were comfortable in the finance department saying, okay, yes, even though it's a minuscule amount, Bentley's able to do it. Get the wallet, get a multi-sig wallet, who's going to have the seed phrase to the wallet. So there's a lot of complexity there. There was the designing of the NFT, and we needed to get the design people on board, and we have to figure out what was the right design. We had to make sure that the designs and the images we had were copyrighted to the university and what weren't copyrighted to another photographer. And so that was an issue. And so we worked through all of it. One other issue actually, which came up too, is the sustainability folks at the university didn't want us to do it either, because at the time we were going to go do it through OpenSea and the Ethereum blockchain. Ethereum was proof of work, and so they claimed that it was a dirty technology and would be violating the university's climate pledges. And so we had to have discussions with them, and we wound up buying carbon offsets in order to offset the carbon dioxide that our NFT created. So very complex. Make sure that you have a lot of people around you who can help you through the process. Eventually, we got it done, though. And another point that I should make, probably point number 3 or point number 4, is make sure that you couch this as a trial, okay? So remember, we did this 2 years ago, and NFTs and blockchain were relatively new. Not blockchain, but NFTs were. And there really weren't a lot of places to go. A lot of people didn't know about NFTs. And so I made sure to tell everyone that we were doing a trial. We launched 2 NFTs. One was a 1 of 100, and then one was a 1 of 1 that we basically put through an auction. And you can see them here. They had some video and some sound to them, so they were a little bit more dynamic than what you're seeing now. And they did okay. The auction one, the 101, I don't think I configured it right. The auction failed. It's still out there. We did have a couple of people that bid on it, but OpenSea didn't like the bids, and so it never went through. The 1 of 100, we've had a bunch of people buy them, and so I would consider that a success. And we learned a lot from the process. So I guess I'm out of time, but I would basically say that, you know, see this as a starting point. If your institution hasn't done NFTs before, then you know, put the process together and look at it as a trial, get people involved, and have fun doing it. Thank you.